The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Retired COMELEC Commissioner Rowena Guanzon once again slammed the presidential front-runner Bongbong Marcos while attending a political party's grand rally in Cebu City. Speaking at the Bando Osmeña Pundok Kauswagan's grand rally at the Cebu City Sports Center, Guanzon called Marcos a liar, saying that the latter misinterpreted his academic achievements. She also led the crowd in booing Marcos.
Magnanakaw sila! Si Marcos Jr. sinungaling! Sabi niya graduate na siya ng Oxford! Graduate na siya ng Princeton! Ina mo naman kung magsalita, utan-utan! Adik! Adik! Ayaw ko sa adik! Ayaw ko sa adik! Ayaw ko sa bobo! Ayaw ko sa kawatan!
Meanwhile, senatorial candidate Migs Zubiri says the video showing presidential aspirant Bongbong Marcos refusing to raise the hand of his father, Bukidnon Governor Jose Zubiri Jr., is just a misunderstanding. The awkward video circulated on social media with netizens poking fun on the fact that Marcos seemingly refused to hold the hand of the governor during his campaign rally in Bukidnon. Senator Migs Zubiri denied that there's any issue and chalked it up to miscommunication on the sequence of events. He also said that this is clearly just an effort to sow disunity within the UNI team and their local political party. Tarlac City Mayor Christy Angeles shrugs off criticisms after a monument of late Senator Ninoy Aquino was partially obscured for Bongbong Marcos' campaign rally. Mayor Angeles said not to mind those criticizing them over the incident. Aquino's monument was partially covered by a tent for the UNI team's campaign rally in Tarlac City Plazazuela. Now, Aquino was a staunch opposition figure during the regime of Ferdinand Marcos.
Pabayaan na natin yung mga bumabatikos. It's time for forgiveness and healing. Mag-unite tayo.
Former government officials are backing presidential candidate and Senator Ping Lacson for the upcoming polls. Mean Los Baños with a story.
Former government officials have expressed their support for presidential candidate and Senator Ping Lacson. Among those is former BIR Commissioner Kim Linares, who served under the Aquino administration.
You will see LSSG, that means Lacson Soto support. So we're supporting.
Former Defense Undersecretary Honorio Ascueta is also backing Lacson due to his programs and platforms.
Believe na believe ako sa programa o platform ni Ping Lacson. Was directly under me sa PNP. He was a good follower who developed himself to be a good leader.
Ascueta said that those from the Philippine Military Academy always strive for the best.
So we are for excellence. Ganyan si Ping. Kaya yan, aayusin ang gobyerno.
Despite Lacson's low ranking in surveys, former DICT Undersecretary Eliseo Rio believes that the polls can be manipulated.
Ang sagot ko dyan, being from the information and communication technology, itong pong mga polls na nababasa mo natin, ito ay snapshots of a moment na if you will be voting today, sino ang mga nakalista ng boto nyo? Yan ho ay pwede mong manipulahin. Madali ho.
Rio added that votes for Ping will not go to waste as he vows to fight corruption.
Si Ping Lacson po ay talagang lumaban, no? By example, minsan hindi siya tumanggap ng bigat ng pork barrel. Siya lang.
Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The National Union of People's Lawyers slams the SMNI interview of convicted kidnapper Jovito Palparan. NUPL President Attorney Edre Olalia said that the interview only shows that special treatment is being given to Palparan. Olalia said that this is insulting to the mothers of the UP students who disappeared under Palparan's watch and alleged direct orders. They are awaiting the Justice Department's investigation on the matter.
Siyempre, nagulat kami, bagamat hindi ito ang unang beses, at nakaka-insulto at nakakagalit, no? Na malaman na isang napatunayan at nahusgahan ng ating korte na nagkakasala sa seryosong paglabag ng karapatang tao ay malayang-malaya na nagpapahayag sa media isang.
Olalia said that they will file a manifestation and motion and remind the Bureau of Corrections that the interview should not have been allowed without permission. They're also eyeing to file indirect contempt against those responsible for the interview.
Pinag-aaralan namin, no, na mag-file ng indirect contempt, no? Laban sa mga may kagagawan at may kinalaman dito sa anomalyang ito. Ang letter namin naka-address sa Bucor baka naman sa dulo niyan sila naman talaga dapat ang managot.
After the exciting Oscars awards show, it's time for the most awaited U.S. music awards, the Grammys. Now, this Bloomberg Reports tells us what to expect on the music's biggest night.
The Oscars was an amazing event on Sunday night. I think what we're seeing is a really strong rebound in live events and award shows. So everybody, I think, is looking forward to the Grammys, not just because of the amazing music and talent we expect to see, but because of perhaps what we don't expect to see.
Well, what did you see when it came to streaming as a result of Will Smith and Chris Rock on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly, we saw a jump in consumption of Will Smith's catalog on major streaming services. We saw the next day an increase of about 23% versus the prior day. But this is also pretty consistent with what we see across many artists whenever there's an event in the news, whether it's a piece of celebrity news like the Oscars event, or a more tragic event like a major artist passing, or some other interesting change in their perception in the public. That immediately translates into some change in how their music is enjoyed and consumed on these incredible and fascinating music platforms we have access to now.
I mean, I know that this might be impossible to answer, but do you have a sense of whether that increase in Will Smith downloads has to do with the slap or with the fact that he won Best Actor Oscar?
Hard for us to say, but we definitely saw that increase, and it's probably going to be both of those reasons, and probably many other reasons as well.
I mean, I've definitely been humming Miami, that song from like 20 years ago, since thinking about Will Smith
what about
a little
Chris
more.
Rock? Does he benefit from?
Well, he did. I mean, I don't know if you saw, he did perform in Boston just a few days ago. He had a comedy show,
right?
And it was like the most highly anticipated comedy show, and he kind of addressed it. Let's move on though to big picture here, Rob, and just think about the way that this has changed for artists just in recent decades. And I'm wondering how we can compare how an artist is rewarded when it comes to a Grammy in 2022, and they get that increase in activity from streams versus, let's say, 20 years ago, and potentially an uptick in iTunes downloads, or versus 30 years ago, an increase in sales of a CD. How does that break out for an artist?
Yeah, I mean, today, the majority of the way music is consumed is through streaming platforms. Recent research shows that around 80% of music consumption right now is through streaming platforms like Spotify and others. But of course, physical sales are still incredibly important. The Grammys this weekend will see that effect play out exactly the same way. We'll all rediscover a lot of artists that we've heard about over the last 12 months. We'll go to the streaming platforms and we'll enjoy their music, and they will benefit from that uptick. But of course, as well, there'll be other ways to consume that music. One of the really interesting trends we've seen in the last 12 months is how vinyl sales have increased very dramatically. So don't be surprised if even some of the newer artists who've released on vinyl start to see an uptick in physical sales as well as a result of their Grammys performances.
That's a really good point. A lot of those niche music lovers do buy vinyl. What about just appearing and playing at the Grammys? And I ask this because we've seen a lot more diversity in the people who are invited to present and perform at awards shows. So this is important for perhaps artists who are just starting out and haven't hit their peak yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really challenging to be a new artist today. The Grammys is a really good showcase for amazing new artists, and actually diversity in terms of new artists in the Grammy this year and in recent years has been really, really strong. But for new artists trying to break out in an increasingly competitive market, these award shows are just incredibly important, and the impact of being nominated and appearing and ultimately winning, these really compound very, very effectively for an artist and drive more and more awareness of their music, more and more activity, and ultimately more and more revenue for them as well, which is great.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 10:15 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.